about the live host. Live host in the sense, what are the devices are active in this network? We are going to find that one. The IP addresses and open ports of the live host. And once you got that information, you'll go for the operating system information gathering and even the system architectures here. And then we'll discover the services, what they're running on that particular live host. And even we are finding some vulnerabilities according to the ports which are open. Okay. And did I mention you about to go through that ports? The open port means what? Closed port means what? Filtered means what? Did I inform you that? Last session, I told you to go through this Nmap website. So how many of you done with that? No one, right? See, if you're neglecting this, see, the important phases or important modules I can say in ethical hacking is first three modules are very important. The first one is introduction. In that you learned about what are the information securities, what are the frameworks we have in cybersecurity, what is the role of ethical hacking and hacking in cybersecurity, and what is this information security standards. And you learned about these what you can say the phases of hackers or phases of hacking things. And once you got the idea about the introduction of ethical hacking, then we move on to the footprinting, which is nothing but information gathering, if you remember, right? So make sure that information gathering phase is very important to penetrate into the websites or into any other sort of services. First, you need to understand what is the information gathering, how we are gathering that information is very, very important. Without having the information, you can't penetrate into any of these services or applications. So first, try to understand these two phases, which is scanning phase and information gathering, which is reconnaissance phase. One is passive based, one is active based scenario. So these phases will give the access or information about your target. Then accordingly, whatever the information you got, accordingly you can go for the gaining access, means exploitation scenario. But without knowing these two phases, I can guarantee on that you won't do any activities. Remember, got it? It's very important. Try to go in detail about these two phases. Try to learn as much as you guys can about these two phases, the reconnaissance phase and the scanning phase. Everyone, it's very, 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 very important modules in ethical hacking. You having more than like 22 above modules we have actually. So as a duration basis, we divided the content here. So make sure try to go in detail about these phases. You're getting my point? So it's very important to learn everything in detail here. And especially these two modules are very, very important. Again, I'm telling you. So if you're getting any doubts, please let me know in between and try to do research on this part. Okay, just don't go with such things and just don't go with this command copy paste scenarios. Try to understand what we are performing here. If you're not able to do that, let me know. I'll try to explain it again. Is that clear again? Right. So try to go with that. Okay. So yeah, in this phase, first we are going to find what are the live host or active devices in our network, and then we'll find their IP addresses, and based on that we'll perform some scanning, like port scan or whatever. In that we'll find what are the open ports of that live systems and what are the operating systems they are running and what are the services they are running. So accordingly, this information will go or discover the vulnerabilities. Okay. So to perform this scanning phase, I follow a sequence here. The first sequence is network scanning. So first I'll go with the network scanning here. So network scanning is nothing but here to check what are the devices live in your network, or your target is live or not, you need to check. Okay. So for that, I'm going with the technique called host discovery technique in network scanning. So we have three types of scanning. Network scanning is nothing but to find the active host and the IP addresses. Once you got to know the target is live and their IP address, then you'll move on to the port scanning. So what happening in port scan, we are listing out what are the ports they are running, what are the services they are running, what are the operating systems they are running, what are the versions they're using, like all this information we can find. Once you're done with the port scanning, I'll move on to the vulnerability scanning. Means if the port is open, I'll try to access that, or else I'll try to find some weakness of the target. So once you got that weakness, then we'll try to perform the exploitation. So before going with the exploitation, I'm following these three sequence. So you can also go with this sequence only. Don't blindly perform the attack here. First, try to understand the target activities, means whether the target is live or not. Okay, whether your request is reachable to the target or not. First, try to identify the active host on the network. You're getting my point? Once you got to know the target is live, then go for the port scanning. Again, we have different techniques in port scanning. Again, we have different techniques in network scanning. And again, we have different techniques in vulnerability scanning also. So we'll discuss about them in practical, but try to understand the sequence here. So go with network scanning first, check whether the target is live. Once the target is live, go for the port scanning and see what are the ports open. Okay, and what are the services they are running, and determine whether the services are in listening state or not, and find the operating systems, and then go for the weakness. Shows the presence of known weaknesses. Okay, so to perform this network scanning, I'm going to use a technique called host discovery technique. Okay, so what is the host discovery technique used to identify the active live systems on? So in that, you have some of the different techniques here. We call them as a ping scan. So if you observe, so do you remember the ping scan? Do you remember the ping command? Do you remember that? I need some response from your end. So let me go with ping, and let me take this IP address, which is 192.168.1.12. So 192.168.1.12. So when I run, am I getting the response of the target? Am I getting the reply? Yes, that means the target is live. So by performing the ping, you can check whether the target is live or not. But every time these kind of techniques won't work. Why I let you know. So let me take the target here. And remember, before going with this attack phase, imagine this is my host machine. Okay, which is nothing but my Windows 10. Okay, in this I'm going to installed a VMware. In that VMware, I'm running the Kali Linux. I'm running the Kali Linux and Metasploitable. Okay, so just confirm me that now Kali is connected to the NAT and is having the IP address 192.168.52.12. And imagine Metasploitable is connected to the bridge and it is having the IP address 192.168.1.72 or something. And this network is having 192.168.1.18. Okay. Now tell me, can I able to perform the attack on Metasploitable? Can I able to perform the attack on Metasploitable? I need everyone to be responsive. As I told you, it is one of the important topic. I'm expecting some response here. Is that able to perform the attack? Actually, no. Why? Because they both are two different networks. So now what I need to do? I need to connect to the bridge, not Kali. So let me take the, yeah, it's in different network, so we can't able to perform. So imagine Kali is the attacker. Make sure the network what it is connected, bridge. Great. And start that mission. And even the Metasploitable is also connected to the a bridge only. So they both are in same network. Now can I able to perform the attack? Now can I able to perform the attack when they are in the same network? I can do that. So make sure. So many of them, what they do, the mistake is they'll connect this network. So means they'll host this VMware or Metasploitable in, sorry, means they'll host this Metasploitable in NAT, and they'll connect this Kali to the bridge. At the time, the attack won't happen. Make sure your attacker and target is in the same network or not. Make them in Same network. Either you can connect to the bridge, both, or either you can connect both to the NAT. Make sure. Okay. So make it to the bridge only. Why? Because you can able to attack the machines which are in this network. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? The connectivity part of the network. Right. So we'll go with this part now. This IP address 1.12. So log in with the root only, everyone. I told you how to get the root access also. Right. So to perform this network scanning, I'm going to use a tool called Nmap. So you can go with Nmap -hel. You'll get all these things here. So first, go with the target specification. So if you have the domain, you can scan the domain also. But my personal suggestion is don't perform these on live sites or live servers. So if they got to know whether you're performing the scanning, they'll block your IP or they'll try to sue you. So without their permissions, don't do that on live site. So that is why we hosted a dummy server on our machine. So try to understand these logics. And when you want to implement on the live sites, make sure there will be some platforms like Bugcrowd or Bug Bounty, like Bugcrowd or HackerOne platforms. So, or else whenever you find internal servers of your company, you can do on that with their permissions. Okay. So target specifications, things you can do, like you can give the domain and their subnet mask, or you can give the IP address, or you can give the IP address along with the range. Or if you have some thousands of IPs, create a text file and import the 1,000 IPs in the text file and give that file name along with this command. So it will scan that files. Why? Because individually I can't go with that, right? Imagine there are some thousands of IPs I want to scan. So I need to go with a one by one IP here, like 192.168.1.0.236, like that. It takes time, right? So simply you can go with -IL and you can give that a text file. So what this text file contain actually? IPs. Which IPs? The 1,000 IPs. You're getting my point? So that is what the target specification. So first try to understand how to specify the target here. And if you want to perform some random host, you can do that. Or if you want to exclude these IPs and perform the remaining IPs as a scan, you can go with the excluding. Okay, right. So first of all, how will you find the IPs in your network? For example, there are some devices in your network. How will you find them? What are the live hosts? So simple, I can use a source called host discover. So if there is no Nmap, you can use this host discover. sorry. It's a net discover. Sorry. So net discover, and you can go with the interface. -I is nothing but the interface. And what is my interface in Kali? What is my network interface in Kali? What is your network interface in Kali? In Windows, my network interface is Wi-Fi. So this is my network interface. Then what is your network interface in Kali Linux? How will you check that? Simple. Go with ifconfig. So here I'm getting the IP address. So my interface is ETH0. It is a bridge connection and it is having a wide. So you won't get any Wi-Fi in your Kali or any operating system. Even in your Metasploitable also you won't get the Wi-Fi. Or if you have Windows 11 or Windows 10 also you won't get the Wi-Fi. Why? Because the Wi-Fi is allocated to your primary device. Your Wi-Fi is allocated to the primary device. So you're getting the Ethernet connection only. So my interface is ETH0. Enter. So now it will scan the network, complete network. You can see it start scanning the network and it will give the devices which are active in my network. What are the devices are active in my network? Can you see 1.12? So is 1.12 here? I got this metasploitable IP, and even not only my VMware IPs, even the devices which are in this network, you can see them. Or you can go in another way also. Here I mentioned the interface, right? If you know the range, you can go with the range. Means -R, I know the range like 192.168.1.1 will be the starting IP, and I'm going with the subnet mask 24. So now it starts scanning within this network only. It will be very fast. Can you see it finished? And you can see these are the live host in my network. These are the live host in my network. So using this net discover, you can do the scan and check what are the devices are live in my network. Or as I told you, using Nmap also. So in Nmap, we have different scan techniques. So when you go with --help, the first scan technique we have is the target specification, and then go with the host discover scan. So in host discover scan, we have -SL, -SN, -PN, PE. So to know what are all these things, as a reference, I have given some websites for you, which is nothing but Nmap website itself. So you can just go to the Google and type Nmap. You can see the nmap.org, and here you can go with the docs. Click on the docs, and here you can see the brief options summary. Just go with this, and here you can see all these options, like how to specify the target. Same -help, whatever I'm typing, I'm getting right. Same thing here also you can see. And to know what is this IL, IR, or SL, SN, all these things, they have given description here. Every scan technique you have a book. Means you can go with the references here. So -IL means what? They explained. -IR means what? They explained. -exclusive, -N, -R. Like that, you can see many different commands here. And every technique they have explained you. Host discover means what? What are the techniques they're using in host to discover? Means what are the options we have to perform the host discover? So -SN is there. So what is this -SN here? So it says no port scan, means it performs, means Nmap not to do a port scan after a host discover, means only it prints out the available host that responded to the sorry for that. So just let you know what are the live hosts, means it is often known as a ping scan. So SN is nothing but here simply it is a ping scan. And there is PN also, means it is not performing any ping here, but it is giving the information, means port scan it is performing. Means it's simply disabling the host to discover with the PN. Cause Nmap to attempt all the request function against every target IP address specified. So once it is performing the port scan instead of ping. Okay. So remember, we have different scan techniques here. So go one by one and see how they are working. Okay. So to learn about the Nmap, the best source you have is Nmap itself, the website. Nmap website is the best source here to learn about the Nmap. Every technique they have given in detail. There are options. You can see port scanning. So before port scanning, they explained you about 6 state ports and 6 port states here, like open port means for, closed port means for, what is filtered port means, what is unfiltered port means, what is open filtered, closed filtered. Like total 6 port states we have, they explain you about each state of the port. So open port in the sense simple, the port is open, you can try to access them. Means it is listening, means the target is listening on that port. Means on the target side, the port is open. What happens if the door is open? I can enter into your room, right? So the same thing here also. If the port is open, I can try to send the packets through that port, right? And next we have closed. So closed is nothing but here the target is not listening. Means the port is closed, the door is closed, you can't enter into that room, right? Same here also, you can't enter into that system. Or why? Because they are not listening. The port is disabled or something they done. Simple. Filtered in the sense the port is open. The port is open, but the firewall is blocking your request. Means it is filtering that port. From your end, the port is open, but the firewall is blocking. Same. The gates are open of your college. While you are entering, your watchman is stopping you. Why? Because you don't have any access to that at the time. It was time up, or you're some other guy, or it may be anything. They blocked. Same here. The filtered is nothing but Nmap cannot determine whether the ports is open because packet filtering prevents its probe from the reaching this port. They're blocking. Simple. And when it comes to the unfiltered, even the Nmap doesn't know whether the port is open or closed. Means it is not having a clarity on that particular scan. Okay. And open filtered in the sense unable to determine whether the port is open or filtered. Means when you're getting the open filtered as a result, maybe the target doesn't know whether the port is open or it is filtering. It doesn't know. Closed in the sense same. It can't determine whether the port is closed or filtered. Simple. Right. So like that, they have explained about the port scanning things also. Again, what port scannings are? What are the SS means what? So it is nothing but here lowercase s represents the scan and uppercase s represents the SYN packet. SYN, TCP scan, UDP scan, right? And SCTP initiate scan. Like that, you have different scan techniques: acknowledgement scan, null scan, fin scan, Windows based scan, Myomin scan. Like that, you have different scan techniques here. This is complete port scanning techniques. These are all port scanning techniques. So once you're done with the port scanning techniques, we'll go with the port specification. Means what ports you want to scan, you can specify that port also. You can give the range. So if you want to scan a particular port, just mention the port number. Like a T is nothing but the TCP. So scan TCP 21 to 25 ports. Or if you want to scan UDP, go with U 53, 111, 137 scan. So -P is nothing but the port scan. This is the argument we need to mention here, right? So like that port scanning technique, port specification technique, services and versions. So you'll get the services and you can get their versions information also. That is what the version detection scan. They'll ask you, remember, what is the command to discover the version of the target service? So SV, scan version. See, uppercase V it is, not lowercase v. Lowercase v will be the different, it is verbose again. So go with SV, which is nothing but the version detection scan. So you need to remember all these commands here. So they'll ask you what command we use to get the OS information. -O. So which enables the OS detection information. So like that, you need to use these commands and enumerate the information about your target, right? So first we'll go and start with the target specification. So as you know, you can use the net discover and see what are the IPs active in your network using the net discover command, or you can use Nmap also. Simple, I'm going with Nmap. I'm using some host to discover technique called SN. So what is this SN is, as I mentioned here, nmap go with hyphen hyphen help. So in the host discover, we have SN command. So what is SN is doing? It is doing only ping scan. It is doing only the ping scan. Why? Because I don't want to get the port information. I'm looking for what are the live host in my network. You're getting my point? I need only the live host information. Means I need only the like what are the active host or what are the IPs we have in that network. We are only need to get that information. I don't want any port information here. What happen if I'm not mentioning the port? For example, let me take that metasploitable only 192.168.1.12 is my IP. When I run this, see, did I mention any technique here? Did I mention any scan technique here? Like SN, SP, or ST, SU, or -O? Did I mention any scan technique? No, right? Just I'm giving the nmap and target IP. Can you see you're getting the ports information? What are the ports? What are the open ports we have of the target network? Sorry, of the target system. Can you see these are all the open ports of the target, their service, their state, and the port number. Got it? Right. So what if I mention this SN here? You can mention at the beginning or at the end also, wherever you want, you can mention. When I run this, are you getting the port information? Are you getting the port information here? Are you getting the port information? Anyone? Can you see that? No, right? What it is saying? Just host is up. Right? That means it just performing the ping scan. It checks whether the target is live or not when I use SN. So it is a host discover technique to check whether the target is live. If I go with another ping scan techniques like PE, even if I use this one also, it is performing the port scan. So when I use these scan techniques, PE, PS, PN, all this performs the port scan along with the ping performance. But only the SN will perform the ping scan. Means it will disable the port scan. It will perform only the ping scan. So what I'm doing here is simple. Let me go with nmap -SN I'm using, and I'm giving the range 192.168.1.1 will be the starting IP, right? 1.1 will be the starting IP. 2, I'm giving the range. Obviously, you know how many host devices will have, how many host addresses we can assign from one class C IP address. 254, right? You know, we discussed about the IP addresses, if you remember. So in class C 254 IP addresses we can give, or we can give the subnet mask like /24 also. Why? Because the network ID size is 24 only, right? So I'm giving the range some around 254. Now I'll click on that and wait for a while. It will scan what are the devices live in my network and it will give that information. Okay, just a second. Right, so still it performing the scan. We need to wait for a while. Sorry, oh, I've given a wrong IP. Sorry. It's 168. Like no one is on that. So yeah, now you can see how many devices are live in my network. Out of 254 IPs range, how many devices are live? 8. You can see what are the devices live. 1.42, 1.12, 1.11, 1.10, 1.8, 1.16. Like you can see, right? So this is how you can find the devices which are live in your network by performing the port, by performing the ping scan and by giving the range. And if you want to save this, you can go with hyphen output. What is the output? What is the command to save the outputs here? Yeah, hyphen on ox or os og something like you have devices, right? So let me go with hyphen o and I'm giving the scan dot txt, enter. So now it will perform the scan and save that output in this txt file. Okay, so let me go with ls. So you can see cat scan.txt. Can you see the output is saved in this, right? So to save the output, what is the command again? So hyphen sn. See, I'm just performing host to discover scan only here. If you want to scan a single host, you can go with the direct target and perform the scan. It will go with that. Or if you have multiple IPs or two IPs, you can give that two IPs. And if you have a list or range, you can give that range here. You're getting my point? This is how you can go with the target specification along with the host discover scan. So means I'm performing only ping scan here. Is that clear, everyone? How to get the live host in the network by performing the host discover scan along with the target specification. Sometimes they may ask you, like, imagine there are some thousands of IPs. Imagine not range. See, range in the sense again 254 only you can scan. I'm saying some thousand IPs I'm having, and I have given that IPs in a text file. I'm giving that IPs in a text file. So they'll ask you, you need to perform the scan of the 1,000 IPs and let me know what are the IPs live in that, and you need to save that file also in a text file. When you go for the organizations, while you're performing the scan, if any network disconnected or happened, anything happened, they'll ask you like whether you perform the scan or not. So you need to give that report, right? So you need to save the output in a text file here. So what will be the command you guys will go with? Can anyone tell me what will be the command you'll give or run to scan that 1,000 IPs, and you need to save that output in a text file? What will be the command accordingly? Anyone? Just let me know. What command you'll run to scan that 1,000 IPs, and after scan you need to save that result in a file. What is the command? What is SP? SP means what? Anyone? IL? Just see that. Just go to the help and see what is the command you'll run. Yeah, SN command. Yeah, you'll perform the ping scan. Fine. But what is the command to scan the 1,000 IPs again? See, try to understand the scenario. I'm your client and I came to you and I said, you need to scan these 1,000 IPs and save the result in a text file. And you need to give that report to me. So what you guys will do here? Okay, to save the output -on. Then what is the command to scan that 1000 IPs? We'll go one by one IP. We'll type there. Hmm? What you guys will do? Anyone? Think. Okay, man. Nmap. Okay. Nmap -SN. Okay. Ping scan I'm performing. So what is the command to scan the 1000 IPs? 1000. There are some thousands IPs. 1 to 1000 IPs I need to scan. What you'll do here? Cat is to read the content, man. How will you scan the 1000 IPs? Exactly. -IL option is there. If you remember here in target specification, you can give a input from a list of host or networks. So IL is there. IL is nothing but you can give a file here. So what I can do is simply I'll go here and I'll go and create some touch, some ip.txt and nano ip.txt, and I'll write that IP addresses one by one. The 1000 IPs I'll copy here. Imagine I'm going with some 1000 IPs here. Or I'm going with subnet mask 192.168.1.1 by 24 or 192 dot, or you can go with the IP, like you can scan the Microsoft.com like that. You can use some 1000 IPs. See, range is from 1 to 254 only, or 1 to 65,000 if it is class B. But I have some random 1000 IPs. Some random 1000 IPs I'm having. You can't go with range at the time. So make a file here, Control X, Y, and enter. File will be saved. Now I'll go with -SL and I'll give that ip.txt file, and I want to save that in a text. So to save that in a text, I'm going with scan.txt. Let me go with scan one. Already scan file is there. Just remove this. So now it will scan that IP addresses, whatever I mentioned in this text file only. So now, did I mention any IP address here? No. So just I mentioned the IP addresses. You can see 12 hosts are up. So Microsoft is live, 1.42 is live, 1.12 is live, 1.42, 1.11. Like you can see this range I have given 1.13, 1.12, 1.1, 1.6. So it has given that. And you can see the file is created, scan1.txt. So that is how you can do the host discover scan. What if I remove this SN? What happened? Can anyone tell me? What if I remove this SN? What happens here? Anyone? When I remove that SN, what happens here? What SN is doing here? What is the use of that SN option or argument here? It can't scan the IP. ఇక్కడ నేను ఎస్ఎన్ తీసేసా కదా, ఎస్ఎన్ తీసేయడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుంది చెప్పండి? ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ ఇట్ విల్ పర్ఫార్మ్ ది పోర్ట్ స్కానింగ్. పోర్ట్ స్కాన్ పర్ఫార్మ్ చేస్తుంది అక్కడ. ఎస్ఎన్ పెట్టడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే ఓన్లీ పింగ్ స్కాన్ మాత్రమే చేస్తుంది. పింగ్ స్కాన్ అంటే ఓన్లీ టార్గెట్ లైవ్ ఉందా లేదా అనేదే చెప్తుంది. మీకు ఇక్కడ పోర్ట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ వస్తుందా? ఆర్ యు గెటింగ్ ఎనీ పోర్ట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ హియర్? నో. Getting my point? Here it is giving only the target is live or not అంతే. మీకు ఇక్కడ పోర్ట్ ఇన్ఫర్మేషన్ రావట్లేదు. అదే ఇప్పుడు నేను ఎస్ఎన్ తీసేసి స్కాన్ చేస్తే exactly SN is only for ping scan, that's it. So whenever you want to know whether the target is live or not, that's it. To just you can perform the ping scan, which is SN. Or if you're looking for the port scan and port information kuda kavali ante, then you need to go with the other things like you can go with PN, PS, PA, PU, PY, P, or port scanning techniques like TCP scan, SYN scan, acknowledgement scan. You can use these techniques. So see, it is taking time now. Why? Because it will perform the port scan of the IP address, whatever I have given in this text file. It's taking time. Right. So can you see you're getting the port information also? Previously, you got the port information. Previously, do you got the port information? No. But can you see here? It is performing the port scan. It is performing the port scan here. Right. So there is a difference. And why we are having, so for example, imagine, let me take this host discover scan only, PS, PA, PU, let me take that. So when I perform nmap -ps, okay, ping SYN scan, and it is using the SYN packet to perform the ping 192.168.1.12. Okay, you got the ports open. And when I go with nmap -pe, which is nothing but the ping scan echo, which is 192.168.1.12, I'm giving the same command. So can you see when I run this command, if you observe, when I run this pe command, and when I run this nmap -pu, which is nothing but udp command 192.168.1.12, are you getting the same output? Are you getting the same output here? Just see that. Are you getting the same output here and here? No. Same. You're getting the same output, man. Can't you see that? The output is same here. Right. Even if I use any other command like nmap -pn 192.168.1.12, here also the same. So why we are getting the same, but why we are using different commands here? Why we are using this PS, PA, PU? So apart from SN, remaining all are doing the port scans only, right? All they are doing the port scans only. So what is the use of this? Why we are having different scan techniques here? If you see in the document also, to perform the host discovered scan, we have ARP ping scan, UDP ping scan, ICMP ping scan, TCP ping scan, like that. So just now I use PE, PU, right? So PE is nothing but ICMP echo ping scan. PU is nothing but UDP ping scan. PR is nothing but ARP ping scan. Right? PS I use, right? It is a TCP SYN ping scan. So like that, if you observe, we have different scan techniques. Why we are having all these scan techniques? And when I run this, I'm getting the same output. When I run these scan techniques, I'm getting the same output, right? Yes or no? When I'm using these techniques, I'm getting the same output. But why I'm having these many techniques here? Why I'm having these many options here? Why I'm having these many options here? What is the use of that? Hmm? Anyone? Every my question, guys. Like, are you guys able to follow me what I'm doing here? Just confirm me that. Are you guys able to follow me here? Is everyone clear about the target specification and host discover technique? Is everyone clear with the host discover and target specification scenarios? There are almost 200 people in the session. I can see only 5 to 10 people are responding from my answer. Like, what about others? Hmm? So what is the difference of these things? In a sense, simple. Why we are having different scan techniques is, for example, when I'm performing a ping command, okay, when I'm performing a ping scan. So for example, let me go with nmap -pe is a one kind of ping scan here. So what if target is blocking the a ping? Or for example, when I'm performing the ping scan, what packet they use? When I do this ping scan, what protocol they are using? Can anyone tell me? What protocol the ping command is using here in Windows? How it is getting the response? What is the protocol it is using to get that response? Ping command. They'll ask you in interview what protocol the ping command is using. It's ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol, the ping command use, not TCP. So what if my firewall block that ICMP packet? Will you get the response? If my target is blocking the ICMP packet, means my target is using a firewall. In that firewall, they are blocking this ICMP packet. What happened? Will I get the response? Will I get the output here? No, we won't get any output, right? For example, I'm having a firewall here. If you see, I'm using the Norton. Uh, this is a Norton. Okay. So in my Norton, I'm having a firewall. So in this firewall, if I'm blocking that ICMP packet, can you see there will be a traffic rules? So can you see? So they are using the ICMP firewalls here. So if I block this, for example, modify, and if I click on block, so what happened? My target means my system won't get the ICMP request. So if anyone trying to perform the ping, will my target give the response here? Will my target give the response here? If I block that ICMP packet in my firewall, if anyone's sending a ping request, is my system responding for that ping request? No. So at the time, the target won't get any response. So the target will consider the target is not in line. Okay. So for that reason, they use multiple techniques. So if they're blocking the ICMP packet, I'll send the ARP packet. If they block ARP packet, I'll send UDP packet here. If they block UDP, I'll go with sync packet, TCP sync packet. Any one packet will definitely enable, right? You can't block all the packets. No system will block all the packets. At least they'll open one of the TCP packet or UDP packet or ICMP packet. Any one of the packet they will open. If they block all the packets, what happens? They won't get any incoming traffic there. They won't get any traffic into the system. So we need to check that. If they're blocking ICMP, I'll go with TCP packet. If they're blocking TCP, I'll go with UDP. If they block the UDP, I'll go with ICMP or ARP. So that is why we are having different scan techniques here. Is that clear? So when I send ARP ping scan, so ARP response will be sent. If the host is live, it will give the response. If not, it will inactive. Same UDP I'll send, I'll get that. So you can see the advantages here. What is the advantage of performing this scan, this scan, this scan? Is that clear, everyone? Why we are having different scan techniques in host discover? See, I'm discussing about the host discover only, not port scanning. Only in host discover, we have different scan techniques because if one packet is blocked, you can use another packet. So you can customize the ping request and you can send to the target. Okay. So if they block the ICMP, I'll go with UDP. If they block UDP, they'll go with ARP. If they block ARP, I'll go with TCP. So like that, you have different scan techniques here to perform the host discover scan. Is that clear, everyone? Any doubts? So now tell me what is the command to perform the host discover scan? Means I need to know only the live host. I need only the live host in my network. So what is the command? So SN you will perform. Right. So what if I want to scan the range? I want to scan some range. -IL. We can scan the range by not by giving the IL. Range in the sense it may be a subnet here. /24 or -254, I can do this range. But more than that particular range, then you can go with IL. Okay. So this is what the host discover scan technique. So host discover is just to identify the active and live systems in the network. That is what host discover technique. Okay. Clear? Next, we'll go with the port scan. So what is the port scan techniques? So TCP scan, UDP scans, SCDP, SSDP scanning, IPv4 scanning. So we have different port scanning and service discover scanning here. So if you take in TCP scan itself, we have open TCP scan, which we called as a full open scan. And another one we have a stealth scan. Again, in stealth scan, you have different scan techniques here. Off open scan we called or inverse TCP. See, remember this map. Remember this map. So follow accordingly. Okay, I'll explain you what is the difference of all these things. Let's get into that. So let me go with first. Let me go with port scan. So in port scan, what are the techniques we have? Nmap --- help. So scan techniques is nothing but here port scanning. So even if you go to the website also, you'll have that. So you have port scanning techniques like SS lowercase and uppercases is nothing but TCP sync scan. And ST is nothing but TCP connect scan. Okay. SU is nothing but UDP scan. It's not ping scan. Ping scan will be definitely will have P in front of, not S. You're getting my point? When you perform the ping scan, it will be P here. If you're doing port scan, you can see S here in front of the scan techniques. You can simply remember in that way. Is that clear, everyone? Right. So now let me perform the scan technique. First, let me go with S T. It's lowercase s and uppercase T, remember, and go with the IP address 192.168.1.12 is my target. So obviously my target is metasploitable. I'm taking that IP address and I'm scanning that. I got some ports are open. Okay, some ports are open. So here I'll do the same thing, but here I'm going with SS here. SS, which is 192.168.1.12 is my target. Okay. So if you observe, you're getting the same output here. I'm getting the same output and I use ST and SS. Am I getting the same output or not? Same, right? So here I'm having two questions for you. Okay. It is giving the output, right? what are the services it is running, and what are the open ports we have, along with their port numbers you are getting. So now tell me how these nmap knows that port is open, how it is saying, how it knows the port is open here. This is my first question. And second is, why I'm getting the same result for TCP port scan and TCP sync port scan? Why I'm getting the same result for these two? This is my second question. First thing is, how nmap knows the port is open, how it knows, on what basis it is giving that output. And second thing is, why we are having two different options here and getting the same result. This is my second question. Can anyone? Can anyone tell me that? How nmaps knows the port is open here? Are you guys there? You got my question right? Some. When I perform this scan using a nmap, I'm using a tool called nmap, and using some arguments, I'm scanning my target and it is giving the output. So on what basis it is giving the output? దానికి ఎలా తెలుసు అది పోర్ట్ ఓపెన్ ఉందా లేదా అని? సేమ్ ఐపీ అడ్రస్ తో సంబంధం లేదు. ఐపీ అడ్రస్ ఇస్ మై టార్గెట్ హియర్. నేను సింపుల్ గా నా టార్గెట్ ని స్కాన్ చేస్తాను. ఐఎమ్ జస్ట్ పర్ఫార్మింగ్ ఎ స్కాన్ ఆన్ మై టార్గెట్. సో ఇట్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ ది అవుట్పుట్ ఇన్ రెస్పాన్స్. సో నేను దానికి ఒక ప్యాకెట్ పంపించిన, అది రెస్పాన్స్ గా నాకు అవుట్పుట్ ఇస్తుంది, ఏంటి పోర్ట్ ఓపెన్ ఉందని. సో ఆన్ వాట్ బేసిస్ ఇట్ ఈస్ గివింగ్ దట్ పోర్ట్ ఓపెన్? దానికి ఎలా తెలుసు అంటే ఈ టూల్ కి ఎలా తెలుసు ఈ టార్గెట్ పోర్ట్ ఇది రన్ చేస్తుంది, ఇది ఓపెన్ ఉందని దానికి ఎలా తెలుస్తుంది? So forgot about the two outputs here. Now first question వచ్చేసి how it knows the port is open. DNS. See, the DNS కాదు. DNS, it's not a domain here. I'm doing a scanning on a server. DNS is translating the IP to name, name to number. It's not like that. Again, I'm doing on FTP, SSH, Telnet. ఇది అడుగుతారు మీకు ఎక్కువ. When you go for the interviews, you'll mention the tool names. They'll ask you how this tool work. ఎప్పుడైనా సరే when you're practicing on that, remember how the tool is giving the output is very important. So blind scan చేయడం, it is like you people will blindly scan that you're getting the output. That's enough, you may think. But actually they'll go in detail like how the tool is giving the output, why you're using these command only, and when you use this command you're getting the same output. What is the difference in these two things? Like you need to know these parts. It's very important to know those things. Not only I'm telling about the nmap. nmap ఒకటే కాదు, మీరు ఇన్ ఫ్యూచర్ లో ఏ టూల్ యూస్ చేసినా కూడా మేక్ షూర్ హౌ ద థింగ్స్ ఆర్ వర్కింగ్. మీన్స్ ఆ టూల్ మీకు ఎలా ఇస్తుంది అవుట్పుట్, ఏ బేసిస్ మీద మీకు అవుట్పుట్ ఇస్తుంది అనేది తెలుసుకోండి. బ్లైండ్ గా కమాండ్ ని కాపీ పేస్ట్ మాత్రం చేయకండి. ట్రై టు అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్ సినారియో. Got my point? Is that clear for you guys? So now I'll let you know why and how it is giving the output. Simple. To know this point, I'll use a tool called Wireshark. So మీకు తెలిసే ఉంటుంది Wireshark. I think we used previously. It's a packet capturing tool. Do you remember that Wireshark? So మీరు ఖాళీలో Wireshark open చేయండి. Just try to open. It is an inbuilt tool in your Kali. So just go to this applications at the top. Just try to use the just type Wireshark here. Just click on the. So here it will show you the interface. So obviously my interface is ETH0. Just click on that. So you can see here you're getting a lot of traffic, right? So you're getting a lot of traffic here. So can you see the filter tab? Is my screen visible, right? So if you see the filter tab here, just type TCP dot port You can mention any one of the port. Just let me take one port for you. How it is giving. Why? Because you're getting some 20 to 30 ports open here. So almost మనకు ఒక 20 నుంచి 30 ports open చూపిస్తుంది. So in that, let me go with a single port to show you as a demonstration, like how it is giving the output. So let me take port 21. So port 21 is open, right? So let me take that particular port 21. So here simply I'll go with nmap -st. Let me show you the first about the TCP scan and give the target. And let me go with port specification. So port specification is nothing but I'm doing the scan only on port 21. అంటే ఇప్పుడు నేను TCP packets only port 21 కి మాత్రమే పంపిస్తా. I'm sending the TCP packets to port 21 only. Are you getting that? You got that -p21 means? It is nothing but port specification. So if you observe previously, I didn't perform any scan on an individual port, right? So it performs scan on 1000 ports and it has given the what are the ports open here. But I'm specifying the port here. Means I want to perform the scan only on port 21 here. And scan అనేది port 21 మీద మాత్రమే చేయాలి. I don't want all the ports. You getting my point? So when I run that, you see the Wireshark, there is no output, right? So when I run that, what is the output you got? Port open. So how it is saying the port open is, do you guys remember the TCP three-way handshake? Do you guys remember the TCP three-way handshake? Yes or no? Just confirm me that. Do you remember the TCP three-way handshake? So what is the sequence? First, it will send a SYN packet. Do you remember? First, it will send a SYN packet. If not, I have explained this part in OSI, in transport layer. So just recall that. Okay. So first it will send a SYN packet. So who is source here? My system Linux 1.42. And who is destination 1.12. So what packet I have sent? SYN packet. Can you see my port number here? 57610 is a random port. And I'm sending the request to the port 21. So SYN packet. So if the port is open and live, if it is listening, what it will respond for that, right? So can you see, is that responding? Is that giving the SYN plus ACK for me? Is it responding or not? It is responding me, right? So it is sending the SYN packet along with the acknowledgement, and I have given the acknowledgement. Just I'm telling you like this scenario. If you remember, I have explained you about this scenario. TCP three-way handshake మీకు ఎగ్జాంపుల్ గా నేను ఈ సినారియో ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేసినప్పుడు మీరు గుర్తుంటే. If you remember. So imagine there is Bill and Sheila. So three-way handshake is nothing but to establish the connection. So three-way handshake ఏంటి అంటే కనెక్షన్ ఎస్టాబ్లిష్ చేయడానికి టార్గెట్ తో. So first I have sent a SYN packets. Like I would like talk to you, Sheila, with port on port 21. Are you open? That is what the initiate I took. That is what we call as a SYN, synchronization packet pumpier. So you know TCP is having 6 TCP flags. SYN flag, acknowledgement flag, push, urgent, fin, and reset. SYN packet is nothing but it will try to initiate the connection between the host. And acknowledgement is nothing but it acknowledges the receipt of a packet, if you remember. And push sends all the buffer data immediately. Urgent data connection contained in the packet should be processed immediately, means preferable one. And fin is nothing but therefore there will be no further transmission, means termination process. Reset is nothing but process is done, waiting for another connection. That is what reset. So using these flags only, you can get to know whether the port is open or not. So I'm sending the SYN packet. If the target is listening to that packet and if it is taking that, definitely she'll give the response as a SYN plus ACK. Then I'm connecting saying that ACK. Okay, Sheila, I'll come there and I'll talk. That is what acknowledgement I have given. So acknowledgement means what happen if I give the acknowledgement here is you can easily get my details. Means who is trying to ping me, what is the details, you'll get that. Okay. So based on this SYN only. So if you see in backend, it performs. So first it sends the SYN packet and the target is listening. So that is why you're getting the SYN ACK and I have given the ACK. So can you see the three-way handshake performed here? Can you see? Is the three-way handshake performed? Yes. That means the port is open. So let's see what if the port is closed. Let me take port 20. Why? Because port 20 is closed, right? 21 is opened. So I'll doing on port 20. So enter. So what port 20 is? Closed. So closed means what will be the response here? Just change the port number here, the tab. So what will be the response here? So I have sent this in packet. Did I get any SYNAC or did I get any acknowledgement from the target? So what am I getting here directly? RST means the target is not listening. So నేను ఒక సిన్ ప్యాకెట్ పంపించిన అక్కడ నుంచి నాకు ఏం రెస్పాన్స్ లేదు. కొద్దిసేపటికి ఆర్ఎస్టీ అనే ఒక రెస్పాన్స్ వచ్చింది. ఆర్ఎస్టీ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ కనెక్షన్ షుడ్ బి టర్మినేటెడ్. ఇట్స్ రీసెట్ ది కనెక్షన్ మీన్స్ నేను సిన్ ప్యాకెట్ పంపించినప్పుడు అక్కడ నుంచి నాకు ఎటువంటి రెస్పాన్స్ రాలేదు కాబట్టి పోర్ట్ అనేది క్లోజ్డ్ ఉంది. So how Nmap knows that port is closed or not in the sense it performs a three-way handshake in the backend. You're getting my point? Now you got that how the tool is giving the output. So it performs a three-way handshake at the backend and get that information. So when we call yes, I'll just call you people and I'll say hi. So if you're responding for that hi, I'll consider that you are listening. You're listening to me. That is why you responded for that. So I'll consider that you're listening to my request. So I can say as a open. If I say hi, there is no response from your end. That means you're not listening. I'll consider the port is closed. Same here also. I'll send some packets like SYN packet. If you get the response, then I'll consider that as a port open. If not, port is closed. So this is how you're getting the output. Is that clear? And what output you are getting? The port number, state, whether you know how many port status we have, how many port states we have. Anyone? How many port states we have? We discussed about that. 5. Sure. 6 port states we have. Open port, closed port. I explained you, right? Just now I explained you at the beginning of the class. Total we have 6 port states. Open port, closed port, filtered, unfiltered, open filtered, and closed filtered. Need to remember very important. Nmap is one of the best tool for you to perform the network scanning. One of the powerful tool you can say. So try to learn about these things. Right. So the first thing is you got to know like how the ports are open. My second question is when I run this ST, I'm getting the same output. And let me go with this sync scan, I'm getting the same output. So when I use TCP scan, I'm getting the same output. Okay, let me go with port 21, right? Right, so I'm getting the same output. Here also I'm getting the same output. What is the difference of these two then? Anyone? What is the difference of these two scan techniques here? Hmm? Can you tell me by capturing that request from the Vaishak and let me know what is the difference you found in that two? Can I do that? We can capture this request in Vaishak and we'll see what are the difference. Can I see that in that way? Why? Because at the front I can see the same output. So నా front లో సేమ్ అవుట్పుట్ వస్తుంది. When I use ST, I'm getting the same output. When I use SS, I'm getting the same output. Stealthier then అంటే stealthier means what here? Stealthier అంటే what is the meaning of stealthier here? We'll do that. Let's see here. Let me run TCP scan first. So in TCP scan, is that captured? Yes. So SYN. So SYN, SYNAC, and ACK was performed, right? SYN, SYNAC, and ACK acknowledgement I'm giving. But when I perform this SYN scan, we call this as a TCP SYN scan. Can you observe here? First, it sent a SYN packet, then it has given this SYNAC, but here it is not giving any acknowledgement. Can you see? Only two packets sent. First, hi Jeppa. Then they responded for that hi. Then I cut that phone. Just I called you guys. Just I said hi. Means I said hi to you and you said hi to me. Then I have cut that call. What that mean here? Do you find me who called you? మీకు తెలుస్తుంది ఎవరు కాల్ చేసిండ్రు అని అక్కడ they have anything there apart from the number? Just by that conversation, will you find that person? No, same here also. What happening here is when I perform the TCP scan, it is performing complete three-way handshake. అంటే నేను ఎవరు అనేది కూడా చెప్తున్నా ఇక్కడ. I'm telling that like who am I also here. Like hi, I want to talk to you on this particular place. Then you'll respond, okay, I'll talk. I'll come. Okay, I'm coming there. Means I'm giving the acknowledgement here who I am. Okay. And when I perform the TCP scan. But when I perform this SYN scan, here I'm not giving any acknowledgement here. Means the target doesn't know from where they are getting that request. Means I'm not disclosing my information with the target here. I will be the stealth here. We call this as a stealth scan. We call this as a stealth scan. Can you see? When I perform the TCP scan, that we call as a open TCP scan method, which is nothing but full TCP scan or full open scan we call. We call that as a full open scan. Why? Because it sends SYN, SYNAC, and ACK, means complete a proper connection establishment I made there. So the target will have my information. What is my IP address, from which port I requested, all this information will be stored. But when I use this SYN scan, it is not giving any information. Means it is not giving the acknowledgement to the target. Just I said hi, just said hi. That's it. I got to know the port is open and I'm not giving any acknowledgement. So what happens when I'm not giving the acknowledgement? I will be stealth. So that scenario we call it as a half open scan. Means the target is not having any information about me now. సో టార్గెట్కి ఎక్కడి నుంచి వచ్చిన రిక్వెస్ట్ ఏంటని ఎటువంటి ఐడియా ఉండదు అన్నమాట. సో నేను అక్నాలెడ్జ్మెంట్ ఇవ్వనంత వరకు నా డీటెయిల్స్ అనేది వాళ్ళకి వెళ్ళాం. Is that clear, everyone? The difference of TCP scan and stealth scan. So we call this as a TCP SYN scan. This is TCP connect scan. So it is a full open scan అంటారు, దీన్ని stealth scan అంటారు, or off open scan అంటారు. సో ఆఫ్ ఓపెన్ స్కాన్ లో ఏమవుతుంది అంటే we are not giving any acknowledgement here. That means I'm not disclosing my information with the target. But when it comes to the TCP scan, we call this as a full open scan. The target knows from where they are getting the request. Simple. Here you're getting the stealth. Here you're not getting any stealth. Is that clear? Again, in stealth, you have different scan techniques. I mentioned everything in this document, like inverse TCP scan untundi. Acknowledgement scan also comes under the stealth scan. And again, in inverse TCP scan, you have other scan techniques like XMA scan, fin scan, null scan, myomin scan. See, again, you have many other options to perform the stealth scan. So TCP scan is only one, full open scan, that is what ST. So remaining scan techniques we call as a stealth scan only. So especially this SA, which is nothing but acknowledgement scan. So acknowledgement scan ఏంటి అంటే it let you know whether the target is having any firewall or not. సో ఇక్కడ మీకు ఫిల్టర్డ్ అని వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, when you get filtered option here, that means the target is using the firewall. If you're getting the unfiltered option, that means the target is not using any firewall here. Okay, so for example, let me take this IP address, my primary Windows. Why? Because I'm using the what you can say, like firewalls, right? So 1.11. So let me give this 1.11. So can you see here I'm getting the filtered. So what is the use of this SA? See, it's acknowledgement scan అంటాం. Only A ఉంటేనేమో దాని aggressive scan అంటాం. So if you have only the A option, there is no SA or PA, then you can say that as an aggressive scan. If you have PA, which is nothing but ping acknowledgement ping scan అంటారు. If you have only SA, that is nothing but port scan of acknowledgement. So when I perform this ping scan, like acknowledgement scan, SA వాడడం వల్ల ఏమవుతుందంటే నువ్వు టార్గెట్ అనేది ఫైర్ వాల్ వాడుతున్నారా లేదని తెలుసుకోవచ్చు. You can tell that whether the target is using a stateful or stateless firewall or not. So you know my primary Windows, which is 1.11, is using a firewall which is not on. So I'm getting the target is filtered. But if you see my target 12, which is nothing but my metasploitable server, it's a dummy server which is intentionally vulnerable. They are not having any firewall. See, if you see my metasploitable is not having any firewall, so it is intentionally vulnerable machine. So at that time you'll get unfiltered option. సింపుల్. ఒకవేళ టార్గెట్ అనేది ఫైర్ వాల్ యూజ్ చేస్తే మీకు ఫిల్టర్డ్ అని వస్తుంది. ఒకవేళ టార్గెట్ ఫైర్ వాల్ యూజ్ చేయట్లేదు అంటే ఇట్ విల్ గివ్ ది అన్ఫిల్టర్డ్. సో టార్గెట్ ఫైర్ వాల్ యూజ్ చేస్తుందా లేదా అని తెలుసుకోవడానికి మీకు ఉన్న వన్ ఆప్షన్ విచ్ ఇస్ అక్నాలెడ్జ్మెంట్ స్కాన్. Is that clear, everyone? You can see what packet it sends also. Acknowledgement packets ingest. Okay, so like that you have different scan techniques like acknowledgement scan, you know what it is doing. And inverse TCP scan is nothing but why they are calling this inverse TCP scan is, I'll let you know. So inverse TCP scan is nothing but they use XMA scan or fin scan or null scan. Three options ఉన్నాయి. You have three options here: XMA scan, fin scan, null scan. Okay. You guys are comfortable in Telugu, right? I'm speaking in Telugu in between. Is that okay for you guys? It's okay, right? Fine, great. So we have a inverse TCP scan also here. So inverse TCP scan లో మనకి different techniques ఉంటాయి. XMA scan అంటాం, which is SX, or fin scan antam SF, or null scan antam SN, right? So let me perform the XMA scan and go with the 192.168.1.12 and specify the port. So let's port ఎందుకు specify చేస్తున్నా అంటే I don't want to perform the scan on all ports. It takes time. So నేను ఒక specific port ని మెన్షన్ చేసి ఓన్లీ ఆ పోర్ట్ మీద స్కాన్ చేస్తాను. You can give any port there. So ఇక్కడ మీరు చూడొచ్చు ఓపెన్ ఫిల్టర్ అని వస్తుంది. Means XMA scan is not able to give the exact information here. Right. So let me capture this with this scenario. First of all, let me explain the XMA scan. So this is the command, okay, and it will send the packet like a fin, urgent, and push. మీరు దీంట్లో చూస్తే సిన్ ప్యాకెట్ లో మనకి ఏమేమి ప్యాకెట్స్ పంపిస్తే సిన్, సినాక్ అండ్ యాక్ కదా. మనకి ఎక్స్మా స్కాన్ లో ఇట్ విల్ సెండ్ ఫిన్, అర్జెంట్ అండ్ పుష్ ప్యాకెట్స్. సో ఇక్కడ ఏంటి అంటే రెస్పాన్స్ రాలేదు అంటే పోర్ట్ ఓపెన్ ఉన్నట్టు. If there is no response, consider that the port is open. ఒకవేళ మీకు RST అని ఏదైనా రెస్పాన్స్ వచ్చింది అంటే అప్పుడు పోర్ట్ అనేది క్లోజ్ లో ఉందని అర్థం. సో అందుకే దీన్ని ఇన్వర్స్ TCP స్కాన్ అంటారు. ఓకే, సో లెట్స్ సీ దట్. సో you won't get any, you don't have any output here. So when I run this, do you got any response? Did you get any response here? ఏమైనా రెస్పాన్స్ వచ్చిందా టార్గెట్ నుంచి రిటర్న్? చేసి ఫ్రమ్ 1.42 లైనెక్స్ మిషన్ నుంచి మెటాస్పాటబుల్ కి రిక్వెస్ట్ పంపించా, ఏది ఫిన్, పుష్, అర్జెంట్. సో డిడ్ యూ గెట్ ఎనీ రెస్పాన్స్ ఫ్రమ్ దట్? Did you get any response from the target here? Yes or no? No. That means the port is open or closed. port open ఉన్నట్ట close ఉన్నట్ట. Exactly, the port is open here. So as I mentioned, so when there is no response, consider the port is open. Let me do that on port 20. Why? Because port 20 is closed, right? Port 20 and closed long. So I will port 20, just use port 20 here. So did you get the response? Did you got the response here? You got RST response వచ్చింది కదా. 1.12 నుంచి 1.42 కి రెస్పాన్స్ ఇచ్చింది ఏమని RST. So that means the port is closed here. So if you get the RST packet as a response, consider the port is closed. So that is what the difference between these scan techniques here. Okay, so try to go through this port scanning techniques. As a reference, I can give this website called nmap.org. ఇది మీరు నేర్చుకుంటే బెటర్, ఎందుకంటే దీంట్లో డీటెయిల్డ్గా మీకు ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తారు ఈచ్ కమాండ్ గురించి. ఆర్ ఎల్స్ go with nmap cheat sheet. nmap cheat sheet అని మీరు గూగుల్ చేస్తే you'll get a website called Station X. So you can use this Station X website. And here if you scroll, so first everyone practice this target specification. Okay, so target specifications నేర్చుకోండి. తర్వాత host discover నేర్చుకోండి. See, just see the host discover techniques. They have given the command. Okay, ARP scan ఇవన్నీ. Then scan techniques. SS is nothing but TCP SIM port scan. ST is nothing but TCP connect port scan, UDP scan, acknowledgement scan, Windows payment scan. So మీరు చూసారా ఇక్కడ default అని ఉంది. Can you see that default? Can you see that? So default is nothing but ఇక్కడ నేను ఎటువంటి స్కాన్ టెక్నిక్ మెన్షన్ చేయట్లేదు. సో nmap like 192.168.1.12. Okay, I didn't specify any scan technique here, but am I getting the result? నాకు రిజల్ట్ వస్తుందా? Am I getting the result without specifying any scan technique? వస్తుంది కదా రిజల్ట్. I'm getting the result, right? నేను ఇక్కడ ఏ స్కాన్ టెక్నిక్ నేను మెన్షన్ చేయలేదు, బట్ నాకు రిజల్ట్ వస్తుంది. ఓకే, ఇక్కడ నేను ఎటువంటి స్కాన్ టెక్నిక్ స్పెసిఫై చేయకున్నా కూడా నాకు రిజల్ట్ అనేది వస్తుంది ఇక్కడ. దట్ మీన్స్ ద పోర్ట్ ఈస్ by default it is using ఈ టెక్నిక్ యూస్ చేస్తుంది SS. అంటే నేను మెన్షన్ చేయకుండా by default nmap will take this scan technique. ఒకవేళ మీరు రూట్ తో లాగిన్ అవ్వకుండా మీరు స్కాన్ చేస్తేనేమో TCP స్కాన్ పర్ఫామ్ చేస్తుంది బై డిఫాల్ట్. సో వితౌట్ రూట్ ప్రివిలేజెస్ అంటే మీరు ఖాళీలో లాగిన్ అయ్యి nmap పర్ఫామ్ చేస్తే అప్పుడు ST అనేది డిఫాల్ట్ గా పర్ఫామ్ చేస్తుంది. బట్ వెన్ యూ లాగిన్ యాజ్ అ రూట్, ఇఫ్ యూ నాట్ గివింగ్ ఎనీ స్కాన్ టెక్నిక్ హియర్, ఇట్ విల్ టేక్ SS యాజ్ ఎ డిఫాల్ట్ గా కొన్ని తీసుకుంటుంది మీరు మెన్షన్ చేయకున్నా కూడా. Right. So now, is that clear, everyone? So try to go with this port specification things, scan techniques, and host discover. And port specification, same. You can give port 21, or you can give 21 to 100 ports, or if you want to give UDP ports and TCP ports separately, you can go with that one also. And version scan is nothing but, if you observe here, and I go with 192.168.1.12 and -p port 21. So when I run this, what are the output I'm getting? The port information, state information, and service information. What if I want the version of this service? And a FTP service ఏ వర్షన్ వాడుతుంది, ఏ వర్షన్ సర్వర్ వాడుతుంది అని మనం తెలుసుకోవాలి. So at the time, just mention SV, run that. Now can you see you got the version also? సో అప్పుడు మీరు గూగుల్కి వెళ్ళి వర్షన్ ఏది, VSF TPD 2.3.4. సో ఇప్పుడు VSF TPD 2.3.4 ఎక్స్ప్లాయిట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయని గూగుల్ సెర్చ్ చేస్తే ఉంది. బ్యాక్డోర్ కమాండ్ ఎగ్జిక్యూషన్ అనే ఎక్స్ప్లాయిట్ ఉంది. You can try that, and even you have the videos on YouTube also how to exploit that. సో వర్షన్ తెలుసుకోవడం వల్ల అడ్వాంటేజ్ ఏంటి అంటే we can find is there any existing vulnerabilities on this version or not. Is there any known vulnerabilities or existing vulnerabilities on this version? You can find them and you can exploit them. So that is what the advantage of enumerating the version. So what is the command to enumerate the version? -sv. What is the command to get the operating system information? OS information. -o. When you run that, it perform the port scan, and here you got it perform the port state service version information. Along with that, it perform the OS information. Can you see it is running Linux 2.6.x version? It is kernel basis 2.6. You got the OS information also. Got it? Is that clear? So my target is using Windows. So you got Windows based information. So like that, you can try to get that OS information using -o. Right? So your task for the next session is everyone just try to perform. So I'm giving this link in the chat box. Cheat sheet. This is your task. Everyone have to perform that. Make a screenshot. Take that screenshot of the task. Whatever the commands you practice, just take the screenshot. Explain about that command, what that command is doing, and what is the output you're getting. Explain about that thing and make a document. Got it? Is that clear? I'll give a sample here. So you can see they perform the scan like that. Do the scan, explain me about that command, and whatever the scans you perform, just make sure about that scans, what it is doing, and what output you're getting. Take the screenshot and submit that. Is that clear, everyone? You can see they did the task. So this is how. So this is see how they are doing. These are all done by the students only. They did the task actually. Got it? So just try to complete the target specification technique, host discover techniques, port scan techniques, port specification technique, service and version detection techniques, and OS detection techniques. And remaining, we have firewall bypassing and vulnerability scanning techniques. We'll do that on next session. But everyone, before coming to the next session, try to install the Metasploitable server on your machine and scan and perform the scanning on all these techniques. If you're facing any issues, please let me know. Okay. Is that clear, everyone? Are you guys able to follow me what I'm explaining in the session? అర్థమవుతుందా క్లాస్? ఎస్. సో టాస్క్ ఏంటి అంటే ఏం లేదు, మీరు స్కాన్ పర్ఫామ్ చేయాలి. లైక్ ఫస్ట్ ఎన్మ్యాప్ అంటే ఏంటి, యాజ్ అ రెఫరెన్స్ ఐఎమ్ గివింగ్ దిస్ థింగ్. సో జస్ట్ సీ హియర్. So first go with what is nmap. Just see what is nmap and what are the different scan techniques we have, and just perform all the scan techniques. So scan techniques ఏవేవి అనేది నేను చెప్పా ఇక్కడ. nmap షీట్కి వెళ్తే సో టార్గెట్ స్పెసిఫికేషన్. సో మెటాస్ప్లోయిటబుల్ని టార్గెట్ తీసుకోండి, లేదా ఏదైనా వేరే డమ్మీ సైట్స్ ఏమైనా ఉంటే దాన్ని టార్గెట్గా తీసుకోండి. బెటర్ ట్రై టు డూ ఆన్ మెటాస్ప్లోయిటబుల్ ఫస్ట్. ఓకే. సో దాని టార్గెట్ చూస్ చేసుకోవాలి. సో ఎలా స్కాన్ చేయాలి, టార్గెట్ని ఎలా స్పెసిఫై చేయాలి ఏంటి, how can you give the subnet, the range, or file, or the random thing. Just run these things and see what output you're getting. And same scan techniques on your target metasploitable, see how you're getting the output. So whatever we discussed in this class, just do that in practical in your system. And while you're doing that, try to understand what you're doing there and explain me about that in the document. You can see here, he performed the scan. So he explained about that scan. He performed the scan. He explained about that scan. Again, scan, just scan. Employability test. What does that mean? Right. So just try this in this way. Just scan that and explain me about that. Take a screenshot, explain me that scan. That's it. Is that clear? Everyone? Any doubts? Attendance sheet. Yeah, team, just try to share the attendance sheet. All right. So just do practice that, guys. If anyone facing any issues, please let me know. And yeah, try to submit the task in the drive and share that link in the form. Okay. I have shared that form to the team already, so they'll share you that. And documents also, I'll share that with the team. They'll share you in the Telegram group. So I hope everyone there, right, in the Telegram group only. So I'll share the content, the documents in that group. Okay. Uh, all right, guys. So that's it for today. Thank you. Thank you for attending the session. Have a great day. See you in next session.